I just popped them all.
so I can't hear anything anymore.
You had an unplugged mic and I plugged you in. You're supposed to shut off that kind of equipment to do that, but, oh well.
Who cares? And also, Harak, that's nice to hear that your father figured out what he wanted to do and what's best for your mother, so that's nice. That's good. I'm happy that everything got worked out. I have to put it in Discord. That we are live.
Does Twitch randomly give you pictures? I all of a sudden
What?
had this. I mean,
They shouldn't.
My icon. I had never created an icon. All of a sudden, I got this weird
Where is it?
top left. No, top right. I don't know my left from my right. It's left to me.
I have no idea what that is. They may give you a random one if you don't have one.
I mean, that was just
I don't know.
Strange little dude picture just started showing up on my Twitch.
Yeah, Jessica, you're right on time. Thank you for being here, everyone.
I was going to say good morning, but
It might be morning for someone, somewhere.
it might be. Hello, everybody.
Since I have horrible eyes, I'm actually going to move this over.
Go for it.
Is it easier for you to see here, or does it matter?
It does. Well,
I actually found out
the
that
pre-show is wonderful. As long as my Twitch on my phone, the chat doesn't stop like it sometimes does, I'll be good. But you
Well,
can move that anywhere.
since I had a physical at work, I found out that my left eye is pretty much deteriorating in my head. And
At least it's staying in your head.
it's significantly worse than my right. I don't know why that happened.
Your left one is worse
Yeah,
than your right.
it's gotten worse over the year. So I have to go to the eye doctor,
Get a new prescription.
which I haven't had a prescription change in years
And now all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You know why?
because I fell out of that tree and hit my head.
That might work too. I was thinking all the screen time. It's hurting your eyes.
Just my left.
Just your left one.
I'm like a pirate. I close my right eye and only look through my left. I wear an eye patch. Nobody knows that. So then when I walk away from the screen, I lift the eye patch and I can see perfectly.
That's right. And you walk around all day long saying, "Arg, me matey."
That's how I answer the door.
You need to start answering your phone that way.
For how many people call my house with telemarketers?
See?
I should.
That's exactly what it is, Zinedine. That's all those fights in
Yeah.
hockey.
No, I never took that helmet off. I was fine.
All those
They
hooks.
just punched me right in the steel. Didn't feel a thing.
Well, isn't it kind of lack of smarts
What?
to remove your helmet?
No,
In a
that's
fight?
how men fight.
If I've got
That's
a way
why.
to protect myself, I'm going to protect myself.
Well, here's the thing. How many NHL fights have you seen where people actually take their helmet off? A lot of them don't. A lot of them just get them ripped
True.
off in the
True.
process.
Yeah.
A lot of people will...
They'll throw the gloves off, but that's kind of the, hey, we're going to get down to
Yeah.
business kind of thing, yeah.
All right, Jessica. Safe travels. God bless. But I have seen in like the NHL where people get into a fight and one guy doesn't take the helmet off of the other guy
Mhm.
and just punches his helmet and ends up breaking his hand.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it doesn't affect the other guy at
No.
all. That's why you
No,
wear
you
a
don't
helmet.
feel anything. It's wonderful.
I always find it funny, talking about the NFL, where they'll have all these penalties now for helmet-to-helmet contact,
Yeah.
and they'll give you a good old 15-yard penalty for that personal foul. But then you get a touchdown, and what's the first thing they do?
Yeah.
Right?
They should.
Bam! Right on the head.
15 yards.
It's like, wait a minute. You're trying to protect your noggin. Try to protect the noodle doodle.
I really do think that they should put up boards and glass in the football.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, no more running out of bounds, buddy.
Like
You're taking the hit.
You're taking the hit. Well, they back home they had this small amateur league indoor arena football.
Yeah.
And that was kind of what's out.
Yeah.
There was really no
But I want glass on top of those boards.
glass on top.
Nope. You're getting hit. Deal with it.
Just like hockey. Huh?
Yes.
That'd be interesting.
I would have fun. I also think they should allow them to fight. Just let them fight. There'd probably be so much less issues if you just let the nose tackle fight the cornerback and let it go.
But then it takes all the fun out of the game because then their aggression would be over.
That's the point.
They got it all out.
See,
fighting.
they
It's
probably
like, no,
would. They would have no issues.
They would have no issues.
They would be perfectly.
Then football would be the most docile sport. And once you got that,
They'd all be
fight
just
over.
perfect gentlemen. No one would tackle anybody. The running back would get the ball and just run down the field. Everyone would help him.
there you go.
That would be interesting. So
It'd be about supporting your other man.
there you go. No one would watch it.
Good job.
Doesn't matter. The ratings are down.
Oh, I know.
The lowest they've been since like the 50s anyway.
Which
so.
is hilarious.
So into our subject today. We're going to talk about absolute morality. What is it? Where is it? Why is it? Who is it? When is it?
Ooh, who is it?
Yeah. If it's real. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't agree, please say so, and we'll have a discussion. That's how I feel.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So feel free. It's okay if you don't agree with us.
I'm not so sure I agree with myself.
A lot of times.
Mm-hmm. So what is absolute morality?
It's morality that's absolute. I was always told as a child you can't define words by using the word. Thank you for the water.
And so that's exactly why you define it that way, huh?
Yes.
Absolute morality is morality that is absolute. Because there's really
I think it's hard to have it like just off the top of your head define it. I don't know, it is for me. Because I would say absolute morality is a set of rules that every person on the face of the planet knows and understands. At some
Yeah.
point in time.
at some point in time.
Yes.
I think
Sometimes
There is-
if you ignore that feeling of this is wrong long enough, you don't feel it anymore.
there are things that are right and there are things that are wrong.
Yeah.
No matter the situation,
Yes.
no matter the people involved, no matter the background
Yes.
of the people.
Somebody's at the door. Dave will be back. Until then, how's everyone? This is something important, I'm assuming. Rock, pineapple and bacon on pizza is phenomenal. I'm telling you. Pineapple and bacon. You get the salty, you get the sweet. I hate pineapple. So, pineapple and bacon on pizza.
Ham and pineapple and pizza. That's a Hawaiian pizza at Domino's.
Bacon's kind of hammy. It's just better.
It's from the same animal. You need a morality check. All right. So absolute morality, I guess a good working definition.
We're going to ban Zenadine right now
Would be
for that comment.
and it does. I mean, that's the culture we live in right now, right? The same thing. So there are, without doubt, things that are right, things that are wrong. And so that
Yes.
would be absolute morality. What about, sometimes it's defined as absolute or sometimes objective.
Yeah. Same difference.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So what about relative morality or subjective morality?
I will never ban you. Okay. No, I know the type of person you are. I'll never ban you. So, subjective morality, you can't argue subjective morality because as soon as you argue it, it's an absolute. If you say everybody has subjective morality, that means everybody absolutely has subjective morality, which makes it,
So then it becomes an absolute.
yeah.
But my in kind of the definition, right? Got to define it. It's morality that would be,
Based on the person,
yes.
the individual.
So what I say is moral. What I say is immoral
Yeah.
is immoral.
And then at that point, once you say subjective morality is a thing and it's based on every individual person's morality,
Mm-hmm.
and say what you say is moral and immoral, I say is opposite, that means we're both asserting that our morality is more good than the other person,
Yes,
which I don't understand how you can do that.
because it's moral for me.
And then you.
But I can't put my morality upon you.
I
can
also love how people say you can't force people to believe the morality you believe in, but I'm forcing you to believe in the morality I believe in by saying there's subjective morality, and what I say is good and bad is good and bad,
Yes.
but what you say is good and bad is wrong.
Yes.
Well, isn't that if you say that, aren't you still asserting that your morality is absolute?
Yes.
Okay.
My morality is absolute, but my absolute morality might be different than
There
your
is no
morality.
absolute morality.
Right. Because that would block the definition of what it is.
Yeah.
And so I guess what it comes down to is, where then does morality come from?
Well, it obviously can't come from us. Because if it did, it'd be subjective. And logically, it can't be subjective.
So for us to have morality, there has to be an outside
Source.
outside influence from us being human.
Yes.
So it has to be something extra human,
Yeah.
superhuman,
Paranormal.
paranormal, to impose that morality upon the world.
Yes.
But I'm going to be the devil's advocate here.
That's fine.
Why can't Zinedine brings up that question, right? My culture says pornography is fine.
Yes.
Kind of one of these hypocritical things that's going on in our society today is this whole inappropriate behavior in the workplace. There's been people fired left and right because of inappropriate behavior in the workplace.
Yes.
But if my morality, right, is subjective,
Yes.
then my inappropriate behavior in the workplace is only inappropriate because you say it's inappropriate, but it's appropriate because I say it is.
Yeah.
So how then can people be fired for inappropriate behavior in the workplace?
Because that's still asserting that somebody else's morality is more good than yours.
Right? The boss's morality?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the company's morality.
The company's morality is
more,
better
yeah.
than mine. I was flipping channels last night. We had I think we had just gotten done watching a Christmas movie, and the kids were getting ready for bed, and turned off from the DVD player to, I think it was channel 2. I think it's local NBC or something.
Yeah.
I got an antenna. I don't remember what it was. And there were these very scantily clad women walking around. And I asked my wife, and I said, "What is this?" I mean, it was, I didn't know what it was at first, and I thought it was some kind of pageant or something, but here it ended up being the Victoria's Secret, whatever they do, fashion show, Victoria's Secret fashion show.
Yes.
And with all this inappropriate behavior that's going on, and people being fired left and right, to me, thinking about morality, should that be what we're doing? Is showing those kind of things on television? Shouldn't we have taken those things down and say, we can't subject women and make them objects, because that goes against this whole feminist movement.
Yeah, but that's exactly what they're doing.
But that's exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we're making people sex objects.
All right,
but that's
so,
okay, because I'm not forcing sexuality upon you, so that's okay.
Yeah, you can change the channel. But it's still objectifying.
That's exactly what we did.
It's still objectifying women.
Mm-hmm.
Zenadine posted a couple comments. He said, why couldn't we learn what is good and bad via past experience of the human race? Murder is bad only because it harms the human race, and science has shown us what is good and bad for the world. The more we advance in science, the more we'll know what we should and should not do.
Now,
Goodness.
I know Zenadine's playing the devil's advocate a little bit too. Is that really true? That science has shown these behaviors, and that, as we continue, that we get more and more moral because of what it can do for the human race.
Now, I will say with his first comment saying, why couldn't we learn what's good and bad via past experiences of the human race? I think we can. I mean, I don't say get rid of all of that, because obviously slavery was a thing in the U.S. and it's absolutely bad. We shouldn't have had to have gone through it to understand that it's bad, but it is bad. But I still see, that's the thing. Now that I'm verbalizing this and speaking it, why do we need to see past experiences to understand what we did was wrong?
Can't we know that it's wrong while we're doing it?
Before we do it.
And
even, we know that slavery is wrong. It was wrong before it even happened.
Right.
It's still wrong now.
Does it take me killing a 2-year-old child to all of a sudden figure out that that's wrong?
Yeah.
Or do I know that inherently that is wrong? Does it take me stealing somebody's car to know that that's wrong?
Yeah. I think these are all things that everybody understands beforehand. Even if you go into the tribes of Papua New Guinea, which I bring that up specifically because I have a book about micro-expressions, and it teaches you how to read people's micro-expressions.
Mm-hmm.
And they said they went to a tribe in Papua New Guinea that has not seen any human civilization. Ever.
Okay. Ever.
Never seen a plane, nothing.
Only their own people.
Yes.
Okay.
And when they got there, those people have the same exact expressions for everything that we have.
So when they're happy, they smile?
Yes. When they're sad, they frown. When they're angry, they grit their teeth. When it's the same exact thing. And they've had no outward influences.
Gotcha.
So, inherently what's good and bad. Those people in Papua New Guinea know not to murder each other. That it's bad.
That's bad.
They know not to steal from each other. That it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And so where does that come from? Because, Zenadine posed that question, or the statement that, the more we advance in science, the more we will know what we should and should not do. But hasn't the evidence shown almost opposite? Where, we can look back in society not all too long ago. Go back 50, 60, 70 years, and it seems that there was a lot more, what I would consider at least, morality, understanding of things right and wrong, than what we've come to now, where we are changing the definition of things that are right and things that are evil.
So your first comment, Zenadine, no, because it's abortion and that's murder. And literally, and I really do believe this. Ask anybody who has a special needs kid, and they will tell you that they learned more from that special needs kid than that kid is or they are teaching that kid. I'll guarantee it. Because you learn what self-sacrifice really is and how it really does help you as a human being if you have a special needs child. And they know because they once did those things and realized they were bad. But here's the thing, if they didn't know that it was evil to do slavery, then why aren't the tribes in Papua New Guinea enslaving people? Because they're not.
When did they find out it was wrong? When they find out it was evil? And one of the things, I hear people make that similar argument that you made, Zinedine, about the handicapped or mentally challenged.
Do we want to have the abortion talk again? He
And
said,
that's
how
what
is
it comes back
abortion
to.
murder? It's murder. Oh, man, I got to remember all the information now. Well, obviously, it's a child. If you want to kill somebody who's in a coma,
It's life.
It's murder.
It's
no matter
life.
what.
Whenever all three of my children have had issues being born. My daughter, she was perfectly healthy, but then she ended up being breech and had some issues.
High suggestive, by the way.
But my son,
I figured that's what you're agreeing with.
they were running all these tests whenever my wife was pregnant with him, and they were saying there was something misshaped about his kidneys and that he was missing a joint in his pinkies. And they came into the room, and we had these battery tests, and they came in and sat down with my wife and I and says, hey, the odds are that he's going to be born with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
He's got all these signs that he's got Down syndrome. And we want you to know that we can perform an abortion right here. And we're at a hospital.
Yeah.
We're at Allegheny Health Systems Hospital here in Pittsburgh. And they're offering us right then, just because of these tests that they've performed, that they are conclusive that he has Down syndrome and that we can terminate the pregnancy now. And he was probably 20 or so weeks, maybe just a little bit older than that, because gestation's 40 weeks. And
I don't know, but that seems like a long time along.
yeah, I mean, long enough that he had gone through multiple
By 20 weeks,
ultrasounds.
He has a
Yeah, and they knew it was a
circulatory
boy.
system,
Oh, yeah,
respiratory
heart-
system.
Yeah, heart beating and everything, and you can see him, in all forms. It looks like a baby, and in all indications healthy, other than having this chromosomal disorder of Down syndrome. And my wife and I looked at each other like, that's not an option. We're not. No, if he's got Down syndrome, then we'll deal with it, and it's fine. And lo and behold, he was born, and he was my only child that was born without any complications, without any issues. He's perfectly, other than he's ornery as all get out, but he's fine.
Yes.
There is no Down syndrome, no hint of it at all. Does not have it at all. And to think back that, the option was given to abort him just simply because of having the possibility of a defect. Whenever we have, you work in the steel industry, we have a product that's defective.
Yeah.
We'll
sell it for less.
Sell it for less, or we will, quote unquote, abort it and recycle it through. We'll melt it back down and start the process over for that to make it perfect. And but humankind, there's something different about
Yeah.
doing that to humankind.
Yeah.
To just kill and now to start over again. And where's that morality come from?
Like we said, it can't come from us.
It's got to come from outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it has to come from God. I'm just saying it. I'm saying it now.
Yes.
It's coming from God.
And I know there's been argument after argument about it. And what makes it a little more difficult with a subject like this that we have today is that it's a philosophical
Yeah.
reasoning to go through. I mean, there's lots of passages of Scripture that we can pull up that talk about the character of God.
Yes.
And, that God has such character and He created us and we are made in His image. It would also follow that we would have some of that character as well. Now, of course, because of free will, we can choose not to follow suit with that character.
Yeah.
We can choose to be a murderer, even though that isn't.
Well, I don't believe that we just threw God in there and called it done. We still we showed that it's not trial and error from science because, I mean, every kid knows not to steal. Every child knows not to kill his neighbor or dog. Or now, granted, some have mental disorders. Some are sociopaths.
Mm-hmm. Can we have morality without God?
Well, then it's subjective. I believe.
Because there's not going to be a standard.
Yeah, there's nothing to go off of at that point. Then the standard is your own.
And so my standard, again, kind of going back to that idea, with it being subjective, my standard can be different. And one of the really, and I know this is an old argument about this argument's been going on since the beginning. I don't know, has it gone on since
Forever.
Cain? I'm not sure, but back in the it was probably the 70s when this argument, I know, was used within a debate of an atheist. If the atheist and a theist were in a debate about the existence of God, and the argument of morality came up. But even before that, back in the, I guess it would have been the late 40s, early 50s, what's referred to as the Nuremberg trials.
Yes.
In Germany, about what the Germans did to the, I guess I need to be more correct and say the Nazis.
Yes, because I'm German.
Me too. That's really my heritage, German, and a little bit of English and I think Scottish or Irish or something in there. I'm not sure, but anyhow, what the Nazis did to the Jews. And, when they were on trial, the whole argument was, well, it was right for us to do what we did because it was ordered from the government, ordered from the state. And so we were just doing simply what our government told us to do. And because our government told us to do it, it was the right thing to do. And the trial, kind of came down to, well, there's a higher law that transcends transcends time and transcends any locale. I'll put it that way.
Even if you say, even if you don't believe in God, that higher law is that human life has value.
Yeah. And to torture people the way they were tortured for no good reason at all. There's a standard that we shouldn't do that to humankind. And they were found guilty amongst their peers because of that. And why? Because it seems that there is some standard of morality, that it is an absolute morality that exists, that we can say that, some things are absolutely wrong and some things are absolutely right. I don't know how anybody, and I know you kind of got into this argument on Discord. Was it Discord or your Twitch chat?
I don't know.
Yeah, somebody was torturing babies or doing something.
Oh no, that was on
babies.
Reddit. That was on Reddit.
Reddit.
It's always on Reddit.
It's always on Reddit. That's where the difficulty stuff comes in. And I
Like guy said that if the culture says that child porn is okay, then it's okay in that culture.
and here's the thing: are we not moving towards that culture?
Well, yeah. And I wanted to tell the person, well, then why don't you ask the child if that's okay? Because I'm pretty sure they're going to say no.
So then, where do you get that conflict? So if my culture, my own subjective morality says that child pornography is acceptable, and then that child, for their morality, says it's not acceptable,
Yeah.
then whose morality triumphs?
Obviously the adults at this point, because it still happens.
Yeah.
So they're saying that they're asserting that their subjective morality is more good than somebody else's subjective morality, even if the child's parents says no, this isn't right, and it still happens. The child is still being subjected to somebody else's morality.
Right.
So if the
And
child says yes, it'd be okay. No, it still wouldn't be okay because it's still devaluing the human.
And I think that's a fair question that Zenity
Yeah.
asks. You know, if we have this subjective morality, as long as two consenting people come together, then it's okay. And that's the argument that and I can't remember the letters, this pedophilia group, Young Boy Love, or I forget what
Yeah,
their,
I think
their
I know what
title
you're
is.
talking about.
And where they say, well, okay, yeah, if there's a 12-year-old boy that doesn't want me fondling him, then we won't. But if it's consensual, it doesn't matter if I'm 50 years old
at that point
and the
in time,
child's 12 years old.
At that point in time, you have to follow the law, which is.
But maybe the law's wrong.
You can't. Then you have to fight the government with that. And go ahead and try.
Because the government says you can't have consensual relations
Yes.
until you're 18 years old.
In some states, I think West Virginia's 16.
Maybe, I don't remember.
I think.
I'm
I'm not from West Virginia, so I couldn't.
I am.
It's
And I
either,
know that.
Yeah, it's either West Virginia or Virginia. One of them says 16.
16.
Or like Kentucky
Yeah.
says it.
I know you
think.
can get married at like almost, I think 16. I think you could even get married at like 15 or something, as long as it
In
was
some
parental.
states, yeah.
Your parents signed off
Yeah.
on you or whatever. But
Zen says.
but does that make it, just because it's lawful,
Oops.
does that make it moral?
Yeah.
'Cause there's a lot of things that we see within the United States today.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, you guys who are listening that are, throughout some of these other countries, is some things are lawful, but that doesn't make it moral
Yeah.
to do so. It was lawful in the Old Testament for the Canaanites and the Jebusites and all these others who worshipped Baal and Molech to sacrifice their children. It was lawful, but is that still wrong? And in my eyes, yes.
Yeah.
And is that just because I am a Christian, or is that because there is a higher law,
Yeah.
a morality law?
Zenity said, I don't think it devalues anyone. I think it does because you take away the humanity of the person. Everybody who watches that, if you watch even adult pornography, they have statistics. Granted, I don't have them on me, so we can search them, and I'll put them in the Discord if you want them. But they have statistics stating that it devalues the human being. Your brain changes pathways and receptors to view humans as objects in that area. Not so much as seeing as another human, you're just seeing an object. And it happens if it's adult, child, whatever else weird things that people watch.
Because that's the next phase, right?
Yeah.
We've gone this homosexual route to pedophilia route,
Yeah.
and what's after that? What, we were marrying our beasts?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
marrying our dogs and-
people have said in interviews that their pornography choices always got more extreme and more dark
Well, every
over time.
CSI, NCIS,
Yeah.
all these, crime shows is, well, they fantasized about
Yeah.
What S&M, I think, is where you chain people up or beat them or fantasize about raping. Well, we're just watching it on the computer, and then they go from watching on the computer to acting it out with
But
a willing partner to
Here's also the thing
abducting
too.
people.
I mean, if you watch on the computer, we all know that Jesus said, "If you commit it in your heart, you commit it in life."
Yeah.
So there you go.
And
Even
then-
if you don't believe in God, at the same time, we're being held to a higher standard.
right.
You're to be held to that higher standard because at some point in time, you may get that urge and then it happens, because I think it's a psychological thing at that point in time with pornography. It's a psychological thing that over time, you, like I said, you start to see people as objects and not as human. So then when you go out into the world, it is not beyond a reasonable doubt that you can see somebody, view them as an object, not human, and do what you want.
An object of sexuality instead of
A human being,
yes, a wife, a
Yeah.
mother,
just a person.
somebody that you care and love for.
Yeah.
They're just simply for gratification.
Yeah, but that's just freaky, Hirock.
What? Oh, the 12-year-old.
No, the next realm is yeah. Well, they have the sex robots already. It's just weird. But
It's
here's
weird.
the thing.
Okay,
Here's
is
the
it
thing.
weird?
Is that
Is
not
it sinful?
Is that not the natural progression though? Because we have already established that if you watch pornography, it takes away the humanity from the person.
Mm-hmm.
So then you get a robot that has no humanity. That's what you're seeing essentially anyway.
Right.
Is not a human when you're watching the pornography, regardless.
Well, true.
So that's the
true. I
natural
guess that
progression.
comes down to semantics, but it still takes a human to record, to act those things out for them to be recorded,
some
for
people
them
don't
just to
care.
be turned into
It's weird.
zeros and ones on your computer. However, that does that. So I understand that it's not, a human at the time, but it still took them. But it's strange. Now, would that be immoral?
Yes. Because that's not a man, nor is it a woman.
Because what is that act for?
Reproduction. And on a deeper level, it's to have a deeper connection between husband and wife
All right.
that you can't have with anyone else.
All right.
And
It's
I
an
hope you're not getting that deeper connection with a robot.
It's an expression of love between two people. The idea of procreation is absolutely there, but it's that act is more than that as well.
Yeah.
There's an emotion component involved in it. You go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Through that chapter, he's not talking about procreation. He's talking about not withholding yourselves from each other,
Yeah.
because you burn with physical desires
Yeah.
for the opposite sex, and so that's supposed to be gratification that comes within the realm of a marriage.
Yeah.
is the idea, and that's the ideal. It's how we were created for those feelings, for those purposes, and fulfilled through marriage. But we have, as societies, found many ways to fulfill those desires outside of that.
Yes.
Whether that's fornication, because
Yeah.
it's sex outside of marriage, or whether that's through some
Visual stimuli.
yeah, and possibly robotic.
Yes.
Apparently.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, but I think that that leads back to the absolute morality. And I think the absolute morality is directly linked to the fact of human life has value above everything else.
And that's, and I know I've said this probably 100 times on this, your program here, is there is, I'm going to use absolutely something different about swatting that mosquito
Yeah.
and stepping on that spider than it is for me to take out my gun
Yeah.
and to shoot you across the table just simply because what a mosquito and a spider do, they annoy me,
Yeah.
you know? And I don't know of any, well, I don't want to be so absolute in saying that.
I will
But I
say
don't
that
know
if
it-
there's a spider on me, take your gun out and shoot me.
As long as
Just
they hit
aim for the spider, yeah.
Aim for the spider. But, you know, I was going to say, I don't know anybody that would think twice about swatting mosquito than taking a human life. But sometimes there are people out there who are mentally ill who would think more of that. But there's a difference
Yeah.
that exists there.
Now, Zenadine, he says, your value of humanity only comes from your religion. What's up, TM Skills? And I don't think it does. I think everybody has a value. Even atheists have value for humanity, because if they didn't, they just hang themselves.
What I guess
Because if
that's the
you-
question is what stops the atheist from not devaluing human life to the point of serial killer.
Yeah.
For the person of religion, Christianity or otherwise, it's you say it's their faith, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what Zenadine's getting at.
Yeah.
And so my Christianity stops me from doing those things. But what stops an atheist? I don't know if I see, churches of atheism running around just randomly killing people. So
Yeah.
why aren't they?
It's
And-
because they value life.
And then if they do value life, why?
That's the question. Where does that come from?
Where does that come? Yeah. Is it simply because of law, because of the government,
Yeah.
or is it something instilled in their psyche?
I don't think it's because of the government. Because, okay, say, if you wanted to continue to kill people even in prison, they're not going to stop you.
Right.
You would know
I mean,
that.
I would know that.
Yeah, you know that better than most of us.
Solitary confinement.
And I've watched enough of Lock Up
to see those
to
things.
know,
huh?
yeah, you will always, in some capacity, have interaction with other people, even in solitary.
Yeah.
In some capacity, they have to,
Mm-hmm.
because you still have rights. Why do you still have rights in prison? Because you're a human being.
Right.
So at some point in time, they're going to take you out and take you to the shower. You can kill somebody then.
Mm-hmm.
At some point in time, they're going to have to give you your food through your little porthole. You
Yeah,
can kill somebody
beanhole.
then.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even if they don't value, if someone doesn't value life, you can still kill somebody.
I like. I'm not going to pronounce that right.
Harak.
1232 Harak.
Yeah.
So the Z silent.
I just say Harak.
Okay.
I don't know if it's right or wrong. She hasn't told me otherwise, so
Okay.
we go with it.
I like that statement. That, even an atheist might not believe in God, but it doesn't mean that God won't affect them with His goodness. And of course, that's if you, follow the really kind of train of thought, the argument that Fuzzy and I are making.
See,
here
I'm saying
today.
it wrong. I've been saying it wrong for months. She just
What?
said I'm saying it wrong.
Oh yeah.
It just doesn't matter anymore. I probably say
just-
literally everybody's name wrong.
He just gave up.
I'd said called Zenadine the wrong thing for like a year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. But because in my mind, with my understanding of God and we His creation and morality comes from God, that makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
The reason why these things aren't happening by every single person who doesn't believe in a God, because there is that innate in the psyche, built into the genome, if you want to go that
Yeah.
way, of right and wrong and morality.
Zen's right. If I mispronounce your name, it means I care about you. If I say it right, watch out. I'm just kidding. Hi, Jessica.
Wow.
So,
So do we get a phonetical spelling?
if she wants to, I stopped asking at this point.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
That's why we love Fuzzy, right? That's why. Are you born with an innate morality, or is it learned as you grow?
I think you're born with it because even if... How many times has a child, just a very, very young child, has been told, do not eat a cookie before dinner, and then they steal that cookie, and then when the parent says, did you eat that cookie, and they say, they lie. Why do they lie? They lie because they know they're in trouble, because they did something wrong.
Does that come from past experience of being in trouble?
No, I'm saying if that was the first time it ever happened. Zarhawk.
Zarhawk.
It's a silent H.
Oh, okay. Zarhawk.
No, it's not a silent H. It's just... It's Zarhawk. There, we'll just call it that. I'm not going to try to explain it. I can't spell, so... Apparently I can't read either.
I think that's a good question. Zorg? Zorg too?
Sure.
Sure.
Let somebody else mispronounce the name. I do it so much. I'm
I
done.
will mispronounce
I'm done
the
mispronouncing
whole,
names.
whole way. Does a baby really know it's wrong to kill?
W silent. Zorg.
The
It's Zorg.
Zorg.
Silent W.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
They lack the ability to do so. And so once the ability comes up for that opportunity to be there, have they learned that murder is wrong? And where does that come from? I keep coming back into my mind. And, I just don't want to throw out, that easy, simple answer.
Yeah.
God created us
Yeah.
with those.
And honestly, I think that this is a subject that we can come back to because we're getting really good questions
Mhm.
that maybe we might not have the answer for it. And I'm telling
I don't know if
chat
anybody's got
too.
answers for it.
Yeah, we may not have a good answer for it right now, but we can,
Yeah.
since we've never talked about this before, we can always revisit this
Yeah.
and have better answers for you guys.
It's just a really, and again, it comes back to philosophy. It's just a really interesting discussion
Yeah.
of these things and why they are so.
Yeah. And that's why I
But-
just wanted to let people know we can always come back to this and
Yeah.
have, better answers for these good questions and even better questions. And I think it would be good to go back and forth every couple, months and really hash this out. And obviously we're not experts in this. I'm not an apologist. I'm not sure if Dave is.
No.
Neither of us are Ravi Zacharias.
And they have,
So,
you look up any of those people who, do this, who will go through all these philosophical arguments for the
Yeah.
existence of gods.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about these apologists. There's a lot of groups out there, Apologetics Press and the Ravi Zacharias.
they're much smarter than I am.
And a couple of really good ones here local near us, uh, the Warren Christian Apologetic Center, just down in West Virginia.
All right,
And,
Zenadine, I believe that the answer to life is it 42 or 44?
What?
He said he wants all answers right now.
Oh, yeah.
Right here, right now. So I'm going to give him the answer to the question of life. What is life?
What is life?
It is, I think it's 42.
That doesn't make sense. What are you talking about?
Have you ever seen Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Oh, no.
Okay.
That's why it doesn't make sense to me, huh? Okay. It's like, the answer to life is 42. It's a random number.
Yeah, it's 42.
A random number.
Yeah, I had the explanation as to why it's 42. I forget why. Yeah. I forget why they said it was. But there's like a whole. This one website has 42 reasons why it's 42.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
So yeah.
So sorry, Zenadine.
There you go. See, Zorg knows it's 42.
Man, I'm left out here. I'm sorry. I have never seen. Is it good? Is that a good movie?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
You've never seen the movie,
No.
but you know the
Yep.
the reference.
Somebody told me that.
Oh, okay. Well, see, now I know. I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
It's a book too. I wonder, is the book better than the movie? If anyone's read it. Generally, the book's better than the movie. Anyway, back on track. I need to catch up. Let's see. Where am I? Oh, there's a TV series? I didn't know that. No. Well,
Hey, Zarhawk. They don't even hitchhikers. When you're talking about the twin guilt, why do we have what's called twin guilt?
books are always the best.
If you can elaborate on twin guilt, that'd be awesome.
So then, why do children know morality, or is it taught to them? I don't think any child has ever been told you should not murder somebody. I think that would be my argument. My parents never told me don't go to school and stab somebody in the throat.
Did they ever teach the Ten Commandments?
Yeah.
Thou shalt not murder.
Yeah. But
Yeah, that's commandment number 6.
here's the thing. I don't know if I don't think the Ten Commandments were in my children's Bible.
Is the book of Exodus chapter 20 in your children's Bible?
I don't know. I don't know where it is.
Well, if it's a real children's
Yeah,
Bible, it just has the
like-
Bible stories.
Yeah, it was a very...
Yeah, that might not be in there.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if any child has
sure.
ever been told you shouldn't kill somebody.
And I'd almost flip-flop it the other way and say that, you grow up in a household, like some people who grow up in households that are alcoholics.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily become alcoholics.
Yes.
There's something in them that because of them seeing that, mom and dad think this is fine, this is life, that I don't want that life. And so what if you grew up in a household that is not that it really ever happens, but you grew up in a household that is full of serial killers? Is there something within that individual growing up in that household that says, hey, this is fine that we do this. It's fine.
Yeah.
You think about Jeffrey Dahmer, who would kill people and eat them.
Yeah.
And for him, that was normal, right? That would be, in his eyes, I'm sure, moral.
But at the same time,
to do something. But
he had mental disorders.
Yes.
So then we jump into somebody who does that. Do they know morality, or is it or are they choosing to pick a different morality because of their mental disorder? Are they choosing a different morality, or are they forced into that because of their mental disorder?
I'm going to ignore that question.
Because then you wonder if it's because of the mental abnormality that's causing them to go a different route, forcing them into a different morality, then are they willingly choosing to go a different route? Or is their mental disability forcing them into that?
Okay. So, taking it back to Jeffrey Dahmer, did Jeffrey Dahmer choose to murder and to consume?
Yes.
And then we say he had a mental disability because of his desire for that, or did his mental disability
Cause him
to be a murderer and a consumer? Doesn't matter.
No, but
It's just interesting. Because he had a mental disability either way.
do most of the things that we talk about on Wednesdays really matter?
Absolutely does. Because now we know the meaning of life is 42.
Yes. See, you didn't know that before.
I did not know that before. You learn something every day.
Zorak and
I mean, when you come
Zorg
back,
knew.
to the Book of James, chapter 1, and you come up that idea that sin comes from our desires, right? It comes from our own heart, and
Yes.
so since I'm a Christian, I'm going to go back to God's word, and I know, philosophical realms, we can't do that because, whatever.
And Zorg made the comment, and I agree, not every murderer has that mental issue, the chemical imbalance in their brain. There's other reasons, like he said, attention and amoral morality. Being amoral, that's better.
Having a lack of morality.
Yeah. Amoral morality just doesn't make any sense.
So let's run that gamut for a second. If there are people who are amoral, right, and we say morality comes from God, given to His creation, then why are there people who have
No moral.
no morality? Is that a genetic defect? If morality was ingrained into the genetic code of mankind at the beginning of Adam and Eve and passed on from there, and then we had genetic defect for some people to be amoral.
Yeah, I think an answer to that question is that sin's eating away at everybody. And I think it's also eating away at morality.
Kind of coming back to that, was it Isaiah chapter 3?
I have no idea.
I think it's Isaiah chapter 3 that talks about what's good you call evil, what is evil you've called good.
And I think to give a Christian answer to that question, and not so much giving a logical answer to that question, I think sin is eating away at sin is eating away at everything.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's exactly why Jesus kind of raised the bar of the picture of sin in the Sermon on the Mount that you had referred to earlier about murder.
Yeah.
It's not just the physical act of murder, but I can hate somebody so much in my heart and wish they were dead.
Yes.
That not that I should just go ahead and murder them, but I've already committed.
Yeah, it's already done.
Yeah,
so.
That sin in my heart already. I can lust after somebody so deeply, and so passionately that I've already committed, that the act in my mind already, and I've already sinned, and
so I think that's like I said, the Christian answer is that they've gotten to the point of amorality because sin has eaten away at their morality and their moral compass to the point that they can't see it anymore, or hear it, or feel it, or whatever.
Yeah. So what do you do with those people?
Lock them up.
And I bring that up because of this argument that, okay, well, if morality comes from God, then how was it moral for God to order the killing of entire nations? Man,
First,
women, child, baby.
As Warwick said, are you saying wishing someone dead is just the same sin-wise as actually killing them? And what Jesus said on Sermon on the Mount is, yes. The thought...
And it seems how much it consumes you, too.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm so angry at somebody, like, I wish he was dead.
Yeah.
You know.
I think it, like you were saying, I think it's, if it turns into like this festering,
Yeah, that's...
like total encompassing of your life,
yes.
that you want this person dead so bad,
Mm-hmm.
you've essentially done it because it's already taken over your life.
Right.
So that might be what Jesus is talking about. He might also be talking about of if you're just like, I want you to die, you've done it. Maybe it was both.
Mm-hmm. It's and it seems, at least to me rather, the more the first. And I kind of
that seething, taking
Yeah.
over of your entire life.
Yeah, just every time you think of that person, you're thinking of, if I could just cut their brake lines,
the
if I could
different
just,
ways to kill somebody.
You just hate them so
Yeah.
much because, and I refer to that the same way with the whole lusting thing.
Yeah.
If
I mean, how many
it's-
times has a random person been arrested because they're standing outside of this movie star's building saying, "Oh, I'm in love with her, and she's in love with me."
yeah, completely infatuated.
It gets to the point that they have delusions,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I mean, you get arrested for that.
Yeah. Yeah, that adultery of the heart that he talks about in Sermon on the Mount, I don't think that comes from, it's summertime. You see some scantily clad
Yeah.
woman running down the street and you take a glance and it's like, oh, man, what was that? And, and you take every thought into captivity and you look away and that's that. But it's whenever, not only do you stare, but you start imagining, you start thinking about, oh, what could this be like? And you start fantasizing about it all. And then at that point, it's already, you've played it out in your mind. It's so real.
Yeah. Zorg said, so to contextually is the important aspect. Context is important, and I think it is.
I think context with anything is important.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like you've said, what are
Anytime
the
I
two
do Bible
verses?
study, it's context.
What are the two
context.
verses that you said you like to bring in?
I always
Greet everyone with a kiss, and
yeah. The one is Romans chapter 16:16. Greet one another with a holy kiss.
Yeah.
And there's another passage, and it's about dealing with the tongue. And so I like to pull those two verses together, and so you greet one another with a holy kiss, and then pull in this other verse, and it says, and not forbid the use of the tongue.
yeah,
Right. Of course, we understand not forbidding the use of the tongue.
yes,
Being somebody who's prophesying, greeting one another with a holy kiss is a special greeting. We understand those greetings in the United States. It's a handshake, maybe a hug. In other cultures, it's a double kiss on the each cheek. But you can put those two verses together if we don't keep things in context and say, well, the Bible teaches us that we should be, greeting each other with kisses and using the tongue.
yes,
But that's mishandling
Yeah.
God's word without a doubt. But context, and it's just a silly lesson in context, but you've got to keep it in the context of the close verses, keep it in context of the chapter, keep it in context of the book itself, let alone the entirety of the Bible as well. Context.
Zorg. I think we can bring everything back to morality, honestly, because I think everything that we do is linked to our morality. And I still say, even if we don't, Jessica said, nope. I don't blame you. Even if we sit here and say there is no God, you still can't say that morality is subjective. logically. Even if you come up to an atheist and an atheist says there is no God, you can't argue for the existence of God. That's fine. But you can't argue, logically you can't argue subjective morality, because at some point in time, you're going to say that your morality is more good than somebody else's, which means your morality is absolute. So you can't.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible. That's why I use the absolute morality argument as for the existence of God. Because there can't be another morality. There physically can't be. It doesn't work. Because at the end of the day, if somebody, and you can tell this to anybody who says they want to argue for subjective morality. All I ever say to them is, fine, I think it's moral for me to break into your house and stab you in the chest.
No, it's not.
Exactly.
So why not? Yeah.
I think, Zorg, that everybody's interpretation of morality will differ on minute levels. But the overarching of don't steal, don't lie, don't cheat, don't murder, the 10 Commandments, I don't think you can argue those. But I think like how we're saying about the sinning with thought. We can say we're interpreting that as it taking over your life, and then you've sinned. Somebody else might say, I'm interpreting it as if as soon as you think of it, you sinned.
Mm-hmm.
Those interpretations differ, but at the same time, they're the same. They just differ on minute levels.
Okay.
So I think it's still not subjective, because you can't say that morality is subjective. Because as soon as you say that morality, even on the little things, as soon as you say that morality is subjective, you're saying that there's absolutely subjective morality, which makes it absolute morality. You're stating an absolute as soon as you say there's subjective morality.
So the moral standard would always be the moral standard.
So maybe that's what it is. The moral standard is always going to be the absolute morality. Are we ever going to reach that? No. And maybe that's why we differ on the little things.
Individual, or we as a society?
On both. Maybe that's why we do differ on the little minute things, because we're not going to be Jesus. We can't be.
We can't be perfect
because of sin. So maybe we have that absolute morality imprinted on us,
mm-hmm.
and we try to reach it every day, but we're always going to fall short.
But we still know there is right.
Yeah, there is an absolute morality, because there's right and there. We still know that there is, because there's absolutely something that's right and absolutely something that's wrong.
Can there be excuses? Can there be situational morality?
I am the person that is always believe that there is no gray area.
Murder, right? See, I don't know. I was gonna say murder, right, is wrong.
Yes.
To kill somebody in self-defense.
Now, I think there's a difference between murder and killing.
Because that's a self-defense. Yeah.
Personally, I think there's... Now, I'm not going to say that I would absolutely kill anyone.
Mm-hmm. In self-defense.
Yeah, because I don't know. I've never been
right
in that situation, so I can't say what I would do. I may clam up like a child and cry in a little ball as they beat me to death.
You never know.
No. Yeah, so...
And I think there is it seems at least an idea of that in the Old Testament as well.
Yeah.
Because there were the cities of refuge.
Yeah.
That we learn about, like in Numbers and Deuteronomy, and And the city of refuge wasn't set up for a person who murdered.
Yeah.
Premeditated. I hate you. I'm going to take you out of this life
Yeah.
because I'm tired of dealing with you.
Yes.
It was set up for the person who, whether it was accidental death,
Yeah.
that you could flee to this city and they would protect you
Yes.
for that killing.
Yeah.
But if it was premeditated murder, you're
I still consider that
Okay,
murder, Sarhawk. The morphine overdoses. I still-
yeah, we
yeah. We talked. We did a little bit.
a little bit in Discord.
In the Discord for
Yeah.
a couple months ago, I think.
Yeah, because that's something I see often
I still say it's
at the
murder.
hospital, and I'm like, I don't know.
Because here's the thing. Now I
It's
understand.
not a therapeutic
Yeah,
amount that they're giving you. They're giving you large doses.
I understand that,
keep
like,
you
when you're 105, if you're in the hospital, you're probably going to die. I understand that. But at the same time, I also understand if you're 105 and you're in the hospital, God can heal you.
If he chooses to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think if a doctor, you tell the doctor to say, you know what, just give them the overdose of morphine, let them go so they can die, I think you're saying that you know better than God. Because we don't know God's ways.
Right.
They are greater than ours. We can't understand them.
So we're putting our own life into
And yeah, we're
our own
saying,
life or death into our own hands.
now we're saying, you know what, they're 105. Kidneys failed, liver's going out the door, knees are destroyed, so on and so forth. Just kill them because they're in pain.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the logical thing is, yeah, they're going to die, but at the same time, I think you're trying to say that I know better than God, and I'm going to tell God you don't have the chance to heal them.
And that's a scary situation to be in. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then that kind of brings up the next question of then, not that we'll get into it today, and not that I really want to get into it today, but that discussion of, okay, so, when do we die? Do we die when the spirit leaves?
Yeah.
Or when we die, that's when the spirit leaves?
Yeah. I don't know.
And
I will say, I don't know just real quick on that, I don't know the exact like numbers and whatnot about this, and I could probably find it and put it in Discord, but I read somewhere that the scientist, while people were on their deathbed, had them on a giant scale. And
like to weigh them?
yes. And the moment they died, like, they lost not a minuscule amount, enough to, like, see, but they lost an amount of weight. I think, like, every person that they weighed the same exact weight. I don't know what that is. I don't know.
So our spirit has weight?
That's what they're trying to say.
Huh. That's interesting.
It was an amount of weight that can be detected. Now, I didn't look at it. I can't remember it well enough to say anything about it other than that, because it's been a couple years since I've read something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do recall something along those lines. And I also can't...
But you shouldn't have a change of mass just because you go from life to death.
Yeah.
So that's their...
I can't...
That's
I also
interesting.
can't...
I've never heard that
I
before.
can't talk about the validity of the science that they used
Mm-hmm.
because I can't remember it.
Yeah.
So it may just be voodoo. Kind of.
It's an interesting study.
So
Not something I ever contemplated before, but I mean, if you're shot, there's going to be loss of body fluid and blood, and so there's going to be a weight difference. But
and
if
now,
you're
yeah,
just-
I don't know if it's like air exiting the body.
But air doesn't have weight, technically, right?
It might have enough enough air.
Because you're going to have air in your lung.
If it's compressed, if it's
in
too
your final.
compressed enough, it's. I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
And that's
Anyway.
probably starting into the realm of physics. So
Yeah.
I don't.
Anyway,
I failed out of physics.
I
Failed.
apologize to everybody. I haven't been reading chat.
Oh.
Zorg said, would God ever use someone to perform such actions? Mercy killings? Morphine overdoses? Would God ever? No, I don't think he would. Because I think that goes against who he is. And he's all about life, not death. So I don't think he would do that. Zarhawk, isn't there a movie or something? The Weighing of a Soul? There might be. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I'm referencing a movie and I'm making it into a scientific discovery that never happened. That's possible.
Maybe it was a dream.
It could have been.
And now this is going to be your
That would have been a cool dream.
This is going to be your life's work from now on, is to weigh the weight of the soul.
Could you walk in there? Excuse me, can I put your loved one on a giant scale? That'd be weird. Zorg said, do you guys ever consider easy questions? The half dozen...
Not when Fuzzy's involved. No.
The half dozen I've seen / heard have all been extremely difficult, complicated, or challenging. Yeah, that's true. I like hard questions. Because I want this ministry to be about trying to answer hard questions that other ministries don't want to touch. And I want to answer those questions with biblical evidence.
Maybe we'll never arrive to a conclusive answer, but at least so that we consider things.
Yeah.
I believe is important.
Yes.
And for us to just to run through some... I mean, today's a little more philosophy, but that we at least run through some scripture. And
Zenadine said these are the easy questions.
These are the easy questions. Uh-oh. I'm afraid to see what the hard questions are.
Yeah, Zenadine is 100% right. Any question is not out of bounds or off base or too controversial. Just, state it in a way that is with a loving heart and kindness. Yeah. And we will answer any questions you have.
And with the understanding that some of our audience might not be, all adult.
Yes. And also with the understanding that we may not be able to answer it completely.
I can't ever answer anything completely.
That's true. Yep, Zenadine's completely right. That's why we have that Discord. So if you have any questions, I don't care what they are. If you have any questions, do not feel like that you cannot ask it in that Discord. Because Zenadine swings the banhammer hard and fast. So if anyone says anything...
I heard it was a big old banhammer swing.
Oh, that was me.
I didn't see anything that came through, and all of a sudden
I got rid of that guy
first
quick.
Troll, and I was like, whoa.
Contempt wanted to get rid of him, but he can't do it because he's not a mod. So I chucked him out of there.
Chucked him out.
Pretty quick.
He just came in being belligerent about things.
Yeah, he started saying like stuff about Hitler and Islam and whatnot. So, and he had a suggestive name.
Yeah.
Not suggestive themes though. Just the name. The name was suggestive. The themes were fine. No, the themes were suggestive too.
And if anybody listening to this doesn't get that, it's because
he might still be here.
Our people's handles. Names, suggestive themes.
Yeah, Zorg. Listen, I'm gonna say everybody's name wrong all the time. I apologize.
I think they figured that out already.
Yeah, I can't talk.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know English. It's my second language. Zorg said these are the kind of questions he touched on in philosophy school. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't know, do you ever come up with an absolute answer from philosophy?
I don't think you can.
Or philosophy is just
it's hard.
Ways that lead us to...
I think sometimes you can.
Mm-hmm.
But do you come up with an absolute answer in science?
True science, right? That's a whole test and retest and run it backwards and
but that's the thing.
It's like mathematics.
There's still people that say gravity doesn't work the way we think it does. So do you ever get an actual answer in science? I mean, at the end of the day...
I know this. If everything remains the same, if I pick up a rock and I let it go, it's going to hit the ground. I know
But is it hitting the ground or is the ground hitting it?
Oh, I hate that. I'm pushing down on the table. And
technically
the table's
speaking,
pushing back with the same amount of force of which I'm pushing down.
Technically speaking, everything that has mass has gravitational pull, so it is, yes.
Flat Earth. That's right. Flat Earth. I don't even know what that is. Multipleplex theory?
I have no idea what that is either.
Yeah,
exactly. Explain to us.
That's my
Zarhak.
theory that we're actually on the third world. Have I told you that once before?
No.
This crazy idea that I have?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, we're not going to get into it.
So, where are we with absolute morality? I don't think.
Multiple universes.
I mean, I
Coexisting?
no, multiple universes. Multiple universe theory. No. I would have to say no, unless you're a fan of Fringe, which I am. If you're not, Zarhak, you need to watch Fringe. If you like that multiple universe theory. It's a wonderful, wonderful show by J.J. Abrams.
I never heard that either.
Fringe or J.J. Abrams?
Fringe. I've heard of J.J. Abrams.
Oh, yeah, Fringe. It's wonderful. Ah, see? She loves Fringe. It's a good show. 7 seasons. I think I have all of them on DVD, I believe. I think. It's a good show, though. It's very confusing toward the end. They just have multiple universes, and it's confusing. That's me. It was good, though. I enjoyed it. I never finished the last season either, Zorg. I thought you did a good job, Zen. I still think, even if you don't believe in God, like I said, and you don't believe in absolute morality, you can't argue suggestive morality. Suggestive, yeah. You can't argue subjective morality. Logically. Because then it becomes an absolute. So you can't logically, you can't logically argue subjective morality. You can argue where it comes from, where the absolute morality comes from, if it comes from society, but I still don't think you can argue that it comes from society, because society has different morals. I mean, look at our society now compared to in the 30s. Mm-hmm. I'd say we have vastly different morals. Mm-hmm. Now, I will say, was there less people watching pornography in the 30s than there are now? I'd say no. They're probably the same. But at the same, and by pornography, I mean, obviously they didn't have internet, but
we have easier access to it.
Different forms of it.
Yeah.
Were the same amount of people watching it? I'd say yes. But there was a different stigma, and there was different morality to it, and people knew that this is wrong. But I still think that you can't argue that it's societal, because society, if they have an overall morality, then that's based on the individual, and that's still subjective.
Mm-hmm. What Zinedine? What makes that subjective or relative morality self-defeating?
Sorry, Zorg. There is no subjective morality. There is one absolute morality that's set down by God that every human being knows. And I think if you give... I believe that everybody's morality is the same. But I also believe that certain people, due to sin, don't want to listen to that morality and consistently beat it down to a point that they don't hear it anymore, and they create their own morality. Because we have desires, we want that piece of candy, we want that video game, we want that female or male, we want that car, and because we want it, we beat down the fact that we have that absolute morality imprinted on us, to the point that we don't recognize it anymore.
One of the things I really enjoy about this show, or I don't know, whatever you want to call it, it's a podcast stream, whatever, is because if you would have said that to me In any other place, I'd be like, "Oh no, you're crazy," you know. But the way you explain it, it makes sense because, you know, I would say, well, everybody has, you know, their level of morality, but beyond their morality, there is a standard
Yes.
of morality, and so we agree on the same thing, but we
Yes.
just the definition, the
Yeah.
defining of terms.
And I'm
is
sure
a
I
little bit
define my
different.
terms differently in an hour than I do now, but I think that to completely divorce the conversation from the conversation of having sin
Mhm.
is impossible,
Mhm.
because that is what's degrading morality. That's
Yes.
what's degrading the absolute morality, is the sin,
or an individual. Yeah.
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 which we've
Yeah.
talked about
But
before.
God's standard is still God's
Yeah,
standard.
and
That doesn't
that's
change.
always the standard, and
That
it
doesn't
always will
change.
be the
Yeah.
standard. Because like I was saying before, I don't think if you just sat a kid down and you sit two kids down in a closed room, you give one kid a toy, and you sit another kid in the corner, and you walk away. If that other kid stands up and walks over, punches that kid in the face and takes his toy, and you come back in, that kid's going to lie to you. Because he knows what he did was wrong. Even if you don't tell him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he inherently knows that it's wrong. I truly believe that is what would happen.
Yeah.
It might not, because I haven't done the study, but I think that's what's going to happen, because you're
Yeah,
never.
I hit him.
Yeah. And I'll do it again.
That's right.
Here, give it back to him, punch him again. There. I think that children inherently know. Like I said, no parent has to tell their kid, don't go to school and stab somebody in the head.
So then, where is that desire to lie, to get ourselves out of trouble, come from?
Fear, which is sinful, which we talked about.
Last week?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
It's fear of consequences.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. Maybe that's not sin because you're scared, but you're scared because you don't want the consequences that are going to come at you. Because you know.
For the sin that I committed.
Yeah, because you inherently know that you did something wrong. And your body is telling you that something's going to happen to you because you did something wrong.
So our morality, biblically, came from Adam and Eve eating of the tree in the garden.
Yeah. They had the morality that God. They were able to obtain that absolute standard that God has. But because of free will.
Yeah. Because at that time their eyes opened
Because
and they
even
realized they were
that,
naked.
now that you brought that up, that's the perfect example. I mean, they knew. Well, they actually. Maybe that isn't. They didn't know the difference between right and wrong until they ate whatever they ate. The branch, whatever it was that they ate.
Some fruit from that tree.
Something.
Something from that tree.
Never mind. We're not going that route.
Yeah.
That's a different time. We don't have 4.5 days to talk about this. But I think that that's a good argument for absolute morality. You can't divorce the argument from sin.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but I think it's hard.
And I think, important just to bring up, what Zinedine, you had said before, and Zinedine reiterates, and, that, subjective morality fails to exist simply because
It's self-defeating.
Yeah.
Like you said.
It brings up absolute morality.
Yeah. Well, it's just like Ravi Zacharias said that he was reading a poem, and one of the lines was, they don't believe in absolute truth. They only believe in the truth that there is no absolute truth.
And that is an absolute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There you go. Absolute morality.
Absolutely.
I think
Sorry.
I think that was a good conversation. And again, like I said, we can always come back to this in a couple months if we have more
more questions come up
information,
from
yeah,
it or something.
and I'm sure we will get more questions.
Yeah.
Because I think this is an ever ongoing conversation.
And it's these philosophical and really turn to apologetical things, because then you go to the question, well, where does morality come from?
Yeah.
And if morality exists, then God does. You know, it comes up so often anymore, I think, because of this state where we're at now, where people want to continue to deny the existence of God.
Yeah.
You know, it becomes harder and harder now to just go out and ask somebody to do a Bible study and try to get somebody to switch maybe their ideas on certain theological topics.
Yeah.
Because now you got to go back to the beginning of,
Yep,
there is a God. He does exist.
Yeah.
He created us, and so what's he wanting for us?
and I think that every question that we have for Wednesdays, we're trying to understand God, and we can't. It seems like that's what we're trying to do every single Wednesday, is reason out what God is doing and why he's doing it.
Yeah.
And I think we're always going to get to a certain point and then fail.
Yeah. Because we can only understand him as much as he's revealed to
Yeah.
us.
And even then, even if he revealed everything,
Can we comprehend
yeah,
it?
well, I don't think our heads would just explode off of our shoulders.
Yeah.
And that would be the end of it.
Eternity in heaven.
Yeah, I don't
and-
think we can
yeah.
understand it. And that's another argument that I use for there is a God, and it's the God of the Bible, because he's the only God that sacrificed himself for us. We don't have to sacrifice ourselves for him.
Mm-hmm.
No other God in any other religion has done that.
Right.
You, as the human, have to go to that God and appease that God. The Christian God came to you
Mm-hmm.
so that you could come to him.
Oh. Yep.
Well, Zarhawk, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Zen, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope everybody enjoyed it. It was a good talk. And we
Fine.
kept internet the entire time.
Woohoo!
I know.
And my computer worked the entire time.
Yes. So thank
I was
you,
worried I was gonna
everybody,
have to-
for being here. If you're new, please consider hitting the follow button. We do this every Wednesday and Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. On Wednesdays, we do something like this, where we talk and just do a discussion.
Mhm.
On Thursdays, we record a podcast where we do a Bible study, and we do, what is
Kind
it
of a
called?
textual and a topical
Yes.
discussion. Right now we're
And-
doing the...
We're in Genesis. What are we doing? We just did Moses.
Yeah, we just finished Moses.
Joshua.
Joshua.
Is that who we're doing next?
I believe so.
All right. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. That's where we're at in there. Zorg, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you were here. And we do a Q&A after the recording of the podcast with a Twitch chat where we take any of your questions for 30 minutes. 30-ish minutes. And
So
thank
we-
you for the follow, Zorg.
We do a Q&A for people who have questions.
Yes.
And we attempt to give answers.
Yes.
That's what a
Just
Q&A
like
is.
Wednesday.
Exactly what a Q&A is.
So I hope you guys really liked it. I hope we gave some kind of clarity on this topic. Or if we didn't, I hope we gave like more questions. I forgot that his bot can do that.
I was trying to use that bot the other day in
Discord.
It's like, why isn't this working? Oh, wait.
That's right, Zen. And so everybody knows. Oh, it's okay, Zen. I like those verses either way.
Well, see, at first when I saw the Ruth reference,
Yeah, I was trying to read it.
I was like,
That's why.
yeah,
But I'm glad it's
Lord,
working.
Lord be kind with us because we've just all blown our minds.
Yeah.
Killed ourselves.
But I'm glad you guys liked it again.
I enjoyed.
We try to give our best rendition of what we're trying to answer. Sometimes, all the time we fall short, but sometimes we get a little bit closer than others. And definitely revisit this.
And in the end, at least, there's something that we can take away from.
Yeah, and
something that, I learned today, and something I'm sure hopefully other people have learned today too.
Yeah, that's what I'm really shooting for. I hope everybody learned something. If not, I hope it at least got you to think and come up with more questions. And if you have more questions, you can always put them in the Discord, or you can always hold on to them until we visit this again, or you can hold on to them until tomorrow.
Yeah, until tomorrow.
We can try to answer them tomorrow.
And it doesn't have to be this subject either.
No, it can be anything. Tomorrow's Q&A is anything that you want to talk about. We can talk about it. And yeah, we have no issue with any question that anyone.
Sometimes
wants
we
to
might
ask.
have to pin it. Put a pin in it for another day.
Yep.
But
again, guys, thank you for being here. I'm gonna run VODs for the rest of the day, including this one.
Are you streaming later?
No.
You're done?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm done for the day. I will be streaming tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern. I'm going to do Divinity, Original Sin again, and hopefully we can get out of that city, not be in it for another 3 hours. Trying to figure out who murdered somebody, and nobody wants to talk. And I don't have enough evidence for anyone. So
there's some poor morals going on in this.
I may have accidentally murdered 3 people. Now, in my defense, the one guy was going to go kill somebody.
Now, wait. Didn't we just have a discussion on situational morality?
In my defense, I misclicked onto one of his locked chests.
I didn't mean to pull the trigger.
And then he turned around and attacked me. Now, the other 2 people were innocent bystanders that decided they wanted to come in and fight. That was self-defense. Exactly, Zen. They deserved it.
I wasn't there watching, so I don't know.
Which makes it morally right. It was preemptive vengeance. Exactly suggestive.
Ooh, preemptive vengeance.
Zorg, that quest is a massive pain right now. I'm trying my best to not Google it, to figure out how to get through it. But we'll see how well I can do it tomorrow. If I can't figure it out in 6 hours, I'm probably just going to Google how to get out of there. Because the game is like infinitely long. And I don't want to be in one city at the beginning of the game for an infinite amount of time. See? Zorg had to Google it. I feel better now. I feel much better now.
Good. There you go.
All right, I'll put that up. All right, anyway, guys, I will be back tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern with Divinity, and then we'll be back with Dave.
Yes, I will be back.
At 1:30 p.m.
1:30.
Eastern with the Bible study.
Genesis chapter 7, I believe. No, we're in 8. I think we're in chapter 8 now.
Who knows?
Who knows?
I can't remember.
Something like that.
But if anybody wants to listen to that podcast, head down below the stream and it'll tell you how to get there. Thank you again for everyone for being here and doing this with us. And the questions. Thank you, Dave.
Definitely don't test out that theory there, suggestive. All right, buddy?
Yes.
Hang
just
in there.
Power through. You can do it. I believe
right.
in you.
That's right.
And thank you, Dave, for being here.
Hey, thank you guys for always putting up with me, and I enjoy it.
Putting up with you. They put up with my questions. You, it's
racking
like
our brains,
you're a saint.
Our brains are blowing up, huh? But
so, yeah,
it's been fun.
Hopefully I could see you guys tomorrow. If not, I hope everybody has a great day tomorrow. And I hope everybody has a great rest of the day today. As always, we're going to be running that vodcast. So if you guys want to stay in and listen to the vodcast and hang out and talk to each other, by all means, do that. And as always, God bless.
God bless you guys.
I will see you tomorrow.
Take care.
See ya.